What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Who Gives a Dram. Episode 6. We're here. We are here. Hope everyone had a good week and enjoyed what was in New England, at least, a pretty cold week. But I'm sure wherever you're listening to this, the weather was not the same. But yeah, episode 6, we're here. And if you follow the podcast, then you know that this is going to be the first episode that we do with a video. So before we start, I want to say follow the podcast on Instagram at Who Gives a Dram. As always, that's what you got to do. Now you can find me on YouTube, Who Gives a Dram on YouTube. We're going to have the podcast recorded from now on. A lot of people have told me that they like the Instagram videos that I come out with and everything like that. So I figured, you know what? I'm a tech genius. I can figure out how to do a podcast for cheap because I'm stingy, and I can figure out how to do it well. So right now we're a minute 40 something in, and it's looking pretty good. So follow me on my video podcast journey now at Who Gives a Dram, and you can watch me drink whiskey. So if that's what you're into, you can do that. But again, I hope everyone had a good week. This is exciting. I'm excited to be recording and to be drinking whiskey. And even though I don't ever stop drinking whiskey, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you don't have enough time in the day to drink to have a dram of whiskey. That happened to me once or twice last week. Just got real busy, and it is what it is. Actually, no. Last week I wasn't busy. Last week I had to get a COVID test because I woke up with a fever one day, and in order to go back to work, I had to go get a COVID test. And I knew I wasn't positive, but I had to get it anyway, and it took 3 days to get the test back. So I was out of work for 3 days and wasn't actually doing anything. So I actually just lied to you guys. I was not busy at all. I was not doing shit, but I still didn't drink that much whiskey because I was doing other stuff. So that's how my week went. I hope you guys had a better week than that, but if you didn't, then it is what it is. What are you gonna do? But today I got a. Well, let's rewind a little bit. Last week we talked about Eagle Rare, and we talked about how awesome I think Eagle Rare is, and how I think it's the best bang for your buck whiskey. And I gave it a 9.0. I don't know what whiskey's going to beat that. I really don't. I even surprised myself when I decided on the spot to give it a 9.0. So you can actually see my light that I'm using in the background in my glasses, which probably isn't a good thing. But I need my glasses. Well, actually, I guess I don't need my glasses. Take the glasses off. But yeah, so we did Eagle Rare last week, and I enjoyed it a lot, as I always do. And we gave it a 9.0, or I gave it a 9.0, and that's gonna be a tough number to beat. I did enjoy a Midwinter Night's Dram more. It is still my favorite pour of 2020, but Eagle Rare, when you account into the fact of how much it costs per bottle, is what I think is, takes the championship there. Is the winner for that. But we're gonna stay along the lines of Buffalo Trace Distillery this week, and we're going into what is one of my. You actually kind of see it in the shot. Well, we're going into what is has been a staple at my home bar for the longest time since I've started drinking whiskey, and it's something that I enjoy drinking on a daily basis more than anything, It's been my go-to for a long time now, alongside Bullet Bourbon. As if you're a listener since the first podcast, you know that Bullet Bourbon holds a special place in my heart. But this is right alongside it. It's a classic. It's something that everybody knows. Even if you don't drink bourbon, you know of this brand. They have so many brands. They have so many good whiskeys, but this is their flagship. This is what it is. We're doing some Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace Bourbon is going to be this week's whiskey. And I'm excited, man. I love Buffalo Trace. It is one of my favorite whiskeys of all time. It is such a classic, such a good whiskey to drink, and it's just something that you think of when you think of whiskey. You think of this bottle right here. You think of this, and we here at Who Gives a Dram, which just means me, thoroughly recommends this to anybody who has never had bourbon before, and I'm excited to drink it. So we're gonna go ahead, open it right up, give it a pour. This is my first drink of the day, so this is gonna be my best drink of the day. I'm actually gonna keep that in the shot. I'm gonna keep that right there, Buffalo Trace. So there you go, a little bit of. You got it right there. A little bit of just a classic darker copper. Every bourbon is copper colored, but this is just more so I think a little bit darker than most people expect, and it looks like a well, they say actually that I'm on Buffalo Trace's website right now, and they say that there is no age statement on the bottle itself, but they say that it's at least 8 to 9 years old. I didn't know that until I researched a little bit about Buffalo Trace before recording this podcast, and although the mash bill is undisclosed, everybody seems to think it's like between 8 and 10 years old, which, I mean, holy crap, I didn't think it was that old. I thought it was maybe 4 or 5 years old. If that's true, that will greatly affect this score. So, what do we got here? It's got an MSRP of around $30, $40 is what Buffalo Trace should be going for. Classic definition budget bourbon is what Buffalo Trace should be. Unfortunately, as we discussed last week, that's not always the case with these products that you can't really find a whole lot of sometimes. And retailers will decide to spike the price right up. And if you do that, you're an asshole. Because if you're going to try to charge me $60, $70, $80 for Buffalo Trace, man, get out of here. Get out of here. Not doing it. Let's go right into the smell. Ooh, wow. That's strong. I think I just gave kind of a nasty face right there, but it's not nasty at all. Ooh, that smells good. Just a classic. Oaky caramel. Like if you were to leave a Twix bar in an oak barrel for a year, or for 10 years, I guess. Oaky caramel. Obviously, you get, well, oak is obvious. Vanilla is typically obvious as well with a lot of these bourbons because they're sweeter by nature. It smells very good. It smells very good. Just a classic. What I think of when I think of bourbon. This is it. This is it. The epitome. First video podcast. We're doing this classic bourbon. So this smells great. It smells great. So we're going to do the first tasting here on Who Gives a Dram video podcast. So if you're drinking with me, raise your glass. This is it. Shante. Yeah. It's very, it's light. It's very sweet and light. Not the longest finish in the world, but it's good for the amount of time that you have it. It's very good, but it doesn't stay for a very long time. I get a lot of sweeter notes on the taste. The first thing I get, hold on a second. The first thing I get is oak. And then it's like an explosion of sugary spiciness, of like some toffee, vanilla, spice, latte type of thing. Maybe not latte, but when I said those three words, toffee, vanilla, spice, I felt like a 16 or 17-year-old girl who was at a Starbucks drive-thru, and that was going to be a latte I was going to be ordering while wearing Uggs and leggings in the middle of September in the fall. So that's what came through me right there, and I guess that's what comes through me. My inner white girl comes out with Buffalo Trace because I just love it so much. It smells great. And the finish, so it starts oak, blast of sugary spiciness of toffee, vanilla spice latte, and then it goes back to a little bit of an oak spice on the back palate, which I'm getting right now as I'm talking, and it's just delicious. It's just delicious. There's nothing more, nothing less about this bourbon. There's nothing overly unique about this bourbon. We're gonna put it right back in the shot. I don't know why I took it out. There's nothing overly unique about Buffalo Trace. Nothing jumps out to you like the sweetness in a Midwinter Night's Dram did to me, or there's nothing that makes it Buffalo Trace per se. It's just the entirety of the experience of drinking Buffalo Trace, from the bottle to the color. It all makes it Buffalo Trace. But there's nothing overly unique about the taste of it. For a 90 proof bourbon, something a little lighter, I would expect not as much of a strong finish as I don't get. I wouldn't expect an overload of oakiness, although I did get it, it wasn't anything overpowering. And I wouldn't expect it to be as potent as it is. For a 90 proof or a 45% alcohol bourbon, it's very potent, and it has a lot of flavor that jumps right out at you, right off the bat. And although it doesn't stay for a very long time, while it's there, it's phenomenal. Me personally, I tend to go for a bit of a higher proof whiskey. I like it to kind of kick me in the face when I'm drinking it. I like to get kind of beat up by my whiskey when I'm drinking my whiskey. But that's just how I tend to go to it. I like a higher proof bourbon, a higher proof whiskey. And although this is potent, or I should say, although it's at 90 proof, it's very potent, and it's there. You can tell that you can tell that it's a lower proof, but it's not as obvious as some other whiskeys, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. What I like the most about Buffalo Trace is the fact that it is the bourbon that brought me into bourbon. So I like I said in the past, Bullet kind of started me off on the whiskey train, and I started to enjoy that. I started to kind of focus a bit more on whiskeys and bourbons and stuff like that, ryes, because my first real whiskey love was Bullet Rye, and then Bullet Bourbon. So I just started to kind of itch around the subject of whiskey, and then when I got Buffalo Trace, I looked at the bottle. There's a fucking buffalo on it. That's awesome. And I'm drinking it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. And it was $30, which at the time for me was expensive because I was used to buying like 6 or 12 packs of Miller Lite or something like that. But now, with everything that I have in my whiskey bar behind me here, if you're watching on the video podcast, it's one of the cheaper bourbons I have. So, when I think of Buffalo Trace, it just brings me to a place of when I first started my whiskey journey, which is always somewhere that I like to go because it is thinking about that and how I've come in the past, I don't know, year, let's say, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, of really diving into whiskey hard is, Buffalo Trace. I give credit to Buffalo Trace and Bullet as to where it all started. So my respect for Buffalo Trace is going to greatly affect this score. And I don't care if that makes me biased or not. It's my podcast. I'm rating this whiskey how I want to rate it. I keep saying we as in there's not, I'm literally just sitting, as in, keep on saying we like there's other people here and it's not just me sitting here. But the score for Buffalo Trace. I mean, if you just look at the bottle, that's going to give it some score. That's going to give it some points just on that. With everything included, Buffalo Trace, I need one more sip. To really judge it. Classic. This, if Buffalo Trace was a person, it'd be that person that everybody likes. Maybe you're not best friends. Maybe you don't go out of your way to hang out with this person. But if you're at a party with this person, it's a good time. That's what Buffalo Trace is to me. Buffalo Trace is the person that everybody likes in high school or college or the workplace or wherever. It's a safe option. It's always a go-to. I mean, I don't think it's as good bang for your buck as Eagle Rare, but it's freaking close. I'm saying 8.7. 8.7 Buffalo Trace. Doesn't taste as good to me as Midwinter Night's Dram, which is still my favorite. Although that's $100 a bottle. And I do like Buffalo Trace a tad bit more than Eagle Rare. A tad bit more. But for the price of that 10-year bourbon. Although this is actually kind of close if it's 8 to 9 years. I mean, I think 8.7. I'm sticking with 8.7. 8.7 is going to be the final score for Buffalo Trace here at Who Gives a Dram. It's always a pleasure to drink Buffalo Trace, and it's something I'm always going to have in my liquor cabinet for the rest of my life. And we are going to continue with this Buffalo Trace journey next week when I drink another Buffalo Trace product. So tune in next week. We're going to do a video podcast again. Who Gives a Dram on YouTube, at Who Gives a Dram on Instagram. Listen, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This is all new to me, especially the video part. And I'm just testing out the waters, seeing how it goes. Like I said, I'm a tech genius. At least I think I'm a tech genius because I figured this out all by myself in a day. And we're going to work out the kinks. We're going to work out how the vibe's going to go. But, man, got the Christmas tree in the background. I'm here. It's Christmas season. We're drinking Buffalo Trace, or at least I'm drinking Buffalo Trace. Hopefully you are too. And we're rocking and rolling. We're rocking and rolling. This is a good time. I really sincerely appreciate every single person who reaches out to me on Instagram, who comments on my pictures, who likes my pictures, who reaches out to me and through DMs, who listens to the show, who rates and reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It seriously means the world to me. Thank you guys. I honestly am kind of surprised at the traction that the show is getting. And, it gives me the motivation to keep going. I'm not getting paid for this. There's no money involved. I'm doing it for the love of this whiskey, of whiskey in general. And I enjoy the relationships I'm making through this podcast. So, again, going to let my buddy Nick Bossy play me out. As always, Pretty New Diamond, at Nick Bossy Music on Instagram, Nick Bossy Music on Facebook, nickbossy.com. Thank you for drinking with me, so I don't have to drink by myself. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Conquer the week, as I'm sure some motivational speaker would say, but I'm just going to say, just drink a little bit of whiskey. If you're having a bad day, or even if you're having a good day, drink a little bit of whiskey.
Did buy her a pretty new diamond, ask that sweet woman if she'd be my wife. There was a kind of feeling love songs are made of. With that sweet woman, spend the rest of my life. Before she came along, I was hurting, but at the end of my tunnel, I saw no light. Broke my heart and I can't keep going. Guess I'll just sit here and get drunk tonight. Vows they meant nothing and she ran to a stranger, and with Johnny Walker I'm passing my time. I asked the Lord, what should I do? But I'm too drunk to hear him tonight. So sit with my bottle while Hank Sr. singing, I'm so lonesome I could cry. Gave me back that pretty new diamond, broke my heart a second time. But I got the last laugh when I pawned off her ring, 'cause I bought me a dime bag and a case of Coors Light. And I asked the Lord, what should I do? But I'm too drunk to hear him tonight. So sit with my bottle while Hank Sr. singing, I'm so lonesome I could cry. So sit with my bottle while Hank Sr. singing, I'm so lonesome I